I'm talking with John LaCour, founder of PhishLabs. Welcome, John.
Thanks, Richard.
So, anti-phishing, I thought we figured this out a long time ago. Why do we need a better way to do it?
No, we haven't. It's still prevalent. It's a problem. It's been around for a long time, but what's really changed dramatically in recent days is that the most successful attacks start out by phishing scams. And they've really evolved from stealing your AOL credentials to attacks being used by nation-state actors to steal IP theft. So it's still a big problem, and the attackers, as ever, are evolving their tactics.
So our browsers prevent us from going to malicious sites, and sometimes our email clients intercept these things. What does PhishLabs do differently?
Yeah, so certainly all those protection mechanisms that have been implemented, content filtering solutions, browser blocking, and so forth, they've gotten better. But the attackers can test against those countermeasures. And so they find ways to still deliver malicious emails into users' mailboxes. And so our approach to that problem is a little bit different. We really look to enroll employees as being part of the defensive network and detect those attacks. And when you start detecting the attacks, that's an opportunity to analyze them, understand how they work, and use that intelligence to improve those content filtering and other protection sources. So our solution is really designed to give companies that actionable intelligence about who's targeting them and how, and giving them the technical data to detect those attacks.
So how does that work?
Yeah, so how it typically works is we have an Outlook plugin that we can provide to our clients, push out to the desktop. When employees spot a suspicious email, they can simply click a button. That email gets routed into our data center. It gets analyzed by both humans and technical automated systems. We pull those attacks apart, whether it's malware, fake phishing site, what have you, and then send a report back over a data feed back to the company that they can then use to protect against that attack, and also to see if one employee detected the attack, perhaps another one has clicked on a link or opened an attachment that they should not have, and they've just opened the door to the company.
Cool. So it sort of automates what most organizations do today. When a savvy user says, hey, this looks fishy, literally, they send it to the IT department. Those guys find some source to analyze it. But you're just making that a process.
What we found is that a lot of organizations, they would like to do that, but they don't have the resources to do it. And the ones that do have the resources to do it, frankly, would rather deploy the resources on other things. So we bring a capability to businesses where instead of just trying to teach employees to detect every phishing email, which they'll never be 100% successful at, and deleting it, to send those messages in and really be able to take advantage of them to understand what's happening and react.
Does that help you establish a big data store, I guess, of the modern methodologies and help spread that across your customer base?
Yeah, absolutely. So we recently released a report, a Phishing Trends and Intelligence report, where we looked at all of our data from last year. And we actually detected over 1 million phishing sites and identified 90 different threat actor groups that were involved in spear phishing attacks. So by using this network effect, we can learn about attacks targeting one client and then share that intelligence with all of our clients and even offer protection before they're attacked.
And will the groups have different methodologies and different focuses based, either cybercrime or espionage or?
Yeah, absolutely. And so what we've noticed is that depending on the group and their motivation, they'll have different tactics. They'll use different types of malware. They'll use different tools. They may use some of the same command and control servers. So by looking at those techniques and tactics, you can link the groups and attacks together and identify sometimes specific industry groups that they're going after.
Yep. Is there an escalation that goes on if, because in highly targeted attacks, they're not going to stop. If they don't get in, they're going to just keep going.
Absolutely.
So your researchers and your automated systems will kind of pick up on that?
Yeah, absolutely. That's part of the value of the service, is to understand, is this some common attack that's being launched against by cyber criminals against many companies out there, or is this a nation-state actor that's trying to target your company? So that contextual awareness and situational awareness is part of the information that we deliver, and we prioritize those reports on the significance of the attack.
There's always great stories around phishing attacks because it's almost an art form, on both sides. What are some of the interesting ones you've seen?
Yeah, the attackers get really clever, and the sophisticated ones do research on their targets. So in one instance, we learned about an executive who had a hobby of remote control airplanes, and in this particular attack, he received a fake invoice from a hobbyist website where he had supposedly purchased this remote control airplane or something like that, and so he got an email, and it actually contained malware and not a receipt. So we'll see things like that all the time, where the attackers really do their homework on their targets and craft attacks just for them.
Yeah, much more sophisticated than the everyday kind. You get you've got a Western Union payment waiting, click here, or a e-fax.
Yeah, we've seen those forever, right? And they still happen for sure. But there's kind of this endless supply of less sophisticated attackers who will just throw attacks against the wall and see what happens. Interestingly, the more advanced attackers are not necessarily always delivering complicated technical exploits, but they're just more convincing in the social engineering scheme.
Right, yeah. Do most of your customers already have things in place on the email and website to offer protection? So you're only catching the things that get through, so the critical ones.
Our service does allow our clients to send in any suspicious emails. So if they have content filtering solutions or other advanced threat detection solutions that are catching things, it's still important to understand who's targeting you and why. But the most important attacks are the ones that are getting through all of that. And though all of those systems have gotten better over time, the attackers are still finding ways to get those attack messages through.
Have any of your early customers, started to give you feedback on how well the program's working?
Yeah, absolutely. With our new T2 employee defense training, we've had customers begin that program and launch simulated phishing attacks against their clients. And in the beginning, they'll see success rates in 40%, 50% range, and over time, they're able to get that down into single-digit numbers. And so, and secondly, they start training employees to detect those attacks and send them in. So we have detected a number of sophisticated attacks against our clients, and we were able to provide that analysis due to training their employees and having them be part of that detection network.
Where do you see all this heading? Where's it going to go, and will it end?
Yeah, well, it's not going to end. The technology keeps getting better, but humans are still involved in the process. And so as long as humans are using IT systems, then this threat is going to be out there. And so what will happen is the technology will get better and the attackers will continue to evolve. And so human beings and a response process is going to always have to be part of the solution.
You mentioned the training capability, so that's kind of a way to do A to B testing before and after?
Sure. So the way that training system works is by sending simulated phishing attacks against employees. And one of the things that we're able to offer is to launch simulated phishing attacks that mimic real-world attacks, because we are also working with a number of banks, e-commerce customers, health insurance, all sorts of industries. And so we see the real-world attacks as they happen. And so we can mimic those real-world attacks in the simulated phishing. And so the idea is, again, to improve your employees' ability to detect attacks and stop them, but instead of just deleting them, we want to leverage those attacks when they're detected to understand if perhaps another user did not catch the attack.
So John, what's the next stage ahead of PhishLabs?
Yeah, so our plans are to keep doing what we do best, which is to help businesses fight back against attacks that target people. And so we have announced a new enterprise threat intelligence service, and that's really going to bundle up all of the data that we have across our entire customer base. And so we've been analyzing phishing attacks for about 8 years, and so we have a rich history of data. We detect over 1 million attacks a year, and so we feel that we have a lot of value to bring to market in terms of helping companies proactively detect attacks that are out there that just haven't hit them yet.
Cool. Thank you very much, John.
Thank you, Richard.